Going on in our country today? Lots of hot topics out there, politically and otherwise, in the public and private sector. One term we're hearing about quite a bit is DEI. DEI. What is it? Do I have it? How did I get it? Where did it come from? All these things coming up, DEI, to the point where even some politicians that may be high level and well known cannot even define it. Talking about it, want to ban it, push back on it, cannot define what it is. Folks, this is Reverend Dr. Bryant T. Mark Sr., founder, chief equity officer at the National Training Institute on Race and Equity, and a professor of psychology at Morehouse College, social psychologist by training. So today, I'm going to shed some light on this term, DEI, the acronym as it is, give you some definitions, a little bit of insight, nothing to be afraid of, regardless of your political stance or demographic background. And I would argue, by the time we are done today, for those who are reasonable, you can understand why everyone should receive DEI training. No. Okay. Keep it up in mind. Let's go. So let's go and define it. All right. So I'm sorry. Before we do that, some basic questions. Basic questions. If you work at an organization, work for the government, work K through 12, whatever sector you're in, whatever your role, your rank, and so forth, I want you to think about a basic question as we get into this. Number one, well, two basic questions. Here's the first one. Do you know for a fact, with data, that there is no racial, ethnic, religious, gender, age, or relationship bias? Meaning relationships like cliques, people who like other people, hang out with other people, have a sort of common bond and connection, right? Those things, right? You know for a fact with data that in your organization, those things do not affect outcomes when it comes to hiring, promotion, assignments and opportunities, mentoring, performance evaluations, or any other organizational type outcome or function, right? We're talking HR related things, okay? So whether it's the mentoring piece here, assignment delegation, opportunities and access, things that happen from employee to employee in the organizational workspace. So tell me this, do you know for a fact with data, not what you think, not what you feel, that there's absolutely no bias in any way that I'm describing here in your organization? Okay, answer's probably no. Second question, do you know for a fact with data, that there is no racial, ethnic, religious, gender, age, or relationship bias in how your organization treats customers, clients, the public, or any other stakeholder? Do you know for a fact with data? You probably don't. And if you do, email us. Email your study, scientifically done, of course, right? With control variables and things like that. Email us your study. Show we've scientifically looked at our organization. We have no racial bias, gender bias, age bias, religious bias, any way in anything related to HR or how we serve our customers and the public. Show me that data. You're going to struggle. In our experience, training hundreds of thousands of people across the U.S. in many different sectors, any of them who have looked for bias scientifically have found it to some degree, which makes perfect sense. No organization is perfect. And if you do these things scientifically and find no bias, please let us know. I'll send my team up to study for a year for free. That means you cracked the code. You found the holy grail. No bias in the organization. We would love to see it. All right. But anyway, so your answers to these questions probably are no, that you cannot produce that data that shows absolutely no bias. So now the question becomes, do we know bias exists on a variety of levels, right? Let's take a deeper dive into this DEI, these DEI sort of breakdown in these terms. Okay, so the D in DEI, diversity. All diversity means is difference. That's all it means, right? And we differ in a variety of ways. What are some of those ways? Well, we'll get to that. Fundamental question before we get to that. Are you an identical twin? Anyone? Identical twin? Like split egg identical twin? Probably not. Only 0.5% of the population, roughly, identical twin. So 99.5% of you, not an identical split egg identical twin. Okay. But even if you were identical twins, are you exactly alike in comparison to your identical twin sibling in every way? Your experiences, your backgrounds, your thoughts, your actions, your perspectives? Probably not. So every single person on the planet is a unique individual. We all differ. We all differ. Can we acknowledge that? That every single human being differs from everybody else along some lines. What are those lines? Oh, I don't know. Maybe their race, ethnicity, gender, age, national origin, religion, disability, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, education, marital status, language, physical appearance, and diversity of thought. That is to say, ideas, perspectives, and values. We also recognize that individuals affiliate with multiple identities. Diversity means difference. We differ in all sorts of ways. So you mean to tell me you got hundreds, sometimes thousands of people who differ, who go to one workplace working toward a certain mission, whether that's a profit motive or some sort of social mission, but they go to the same organization. We cannot discuss how those differences, which we know we all have, may influence how we go about doing our job to reach that profit, that mission, that goal. We can't even talk about it. So we're going to ban the discussion of something we know can play a role in us achieving a goal and outcome. Folks, to use an academic term, that's stupid. On its face. Makes no sense. We know we differ. Come on now. All diversity means is difference. Okay? Now, what happens is you can have differences without adding value. Challenges come when you have differences and you add some value to it. Okay? Let's say age. All right? So if somebody's, say somebody's 23. 24 is not better or worse than 23. 22 is not better or worse than 23. They differ. Right? But can you add value to say one age is better, objectively better than another? They differ. Okay? And it has implications with those differences. So you can have differences without adding value. The challenge is in most societies, we observe differences and then we start adding value in terms of traits and advantages, things like that. Diversity, the ways in which people differ. Next, equity. Providing individuals and groups with the appropriate resources and support for their particular situation that would allow them to experience similar opportunities and outcomes as other groups. Equity is not equality. That is giving everyone the exact same level of support or resources regardless of their situation. Equity, you bait the hook to suit the fish. Customize distribution of resources or support given somebody's situation or condition. What do I mean? Equity is all around you. Equity is an everyday practice. It's called interpersonal skills, even emotional intelligence. What do I mean? Any parents out there? Say you're a parent and you have multiple kids. You know, some kids, you can just talk to them and they get it. Other kids need alternative forms of motivation. Right? Just depends, right? All type of wheelchair accessibility. That's probably a clean example. Wheelchair accessibility to buildings, right? It's the law. So we have to have cuts and curbs on the streets. We got to have buildings with ramps and elevators, things like that. The buildings have to be wheelchair accessible. That's an equity move. What do I mean? You customize the environment to meet the needs of a subgroup of the population. That's all it is. The question is, in your organization, agency, circumstance, can you customize your environment to meet the needs of various subsets of groups, right? Within reason. So say, for example, I'm a nursing mother. So I'm a nursing mother and I come back from maternity leave. So I come back, right? Y'all heard about a couple of years ago, there was an issue with the formula. The formulas were all, whatever the case was. So some issues with baby formula. So now I'm going to pump to help feed my baby. So I'm at work, returning from maternity leave. I got to pump. So every 2 hours or so, I got to go pump, right? So I'm leaving the meetings to go pump. I'm leaving things to go pump. What do some of my coworkers say? Ooh, look at her going to pump. Shouldn't have had those kids to begin with. I know you would never say that. That would never happen in your organization. I get that. Equity says this person is in a situation and it's only for a certain period of time. Can we adjust our environment to be accommodating given this temporary need of a subgroup of the population that won't really inconvenience us much? That's what equity is. Again, within reason. There are going to be some boundaries, okay? But equity said, now some situations call for equity, others call for equality. So if you have two people equally qualified, men and women equally qualified, same background, school, education, that sort of thing, they should be paid the same, promoted the same. Again, assuming equal qualifications and performance. So that's equality. So some situations will call for equality, others will call for equity. So if you're at the workplace and you're in customer service and you're in a diverse setting or diverse, pick any city USA where they have diverse populations who may speak different languages. Somebody calls in speaking a different language. Equality says, I speak English as the employee. I'm the customer service rep. I speak English. So I'm going to speak English to everybody. I'm going to treat everyone equally. That will not achieve your goal. Your goal is to serve the public. If they cannot understand you, you cannot serve them. Equity says, let's get somebody who speaks that person's language on the phone to help them. Folks, this ain't hard. You adjust the environment or resources given somebody's situation or condition, okay? Within reason. Next, inclusion. The act of creating environments in which any individual or group can be and feel welcome, respected, supported, and valued to the point of meaningful participation and influence throughout the organization when feasibly possible, regardless of the role or rank. See, this inclusion is interesting because it has a psychological component, right? The feeling of being respected, supported, valued, that sort of thing. Okay. Now, because you can have diverse bodies in a building and people not feel included. Y'all missed it. I train all over the country. A lot of city and county partners we train, and I have somebody during the break or afterwards say, "Oh, Dr. Marks, Dr. Marks, yeah, we're diverse, but I feel invisible at work." I said, "What do you mean?" It said, "Well, when I come in, my bosses don't speak to us, right? They don't say good morning, no eye contact. They walk by with their fancy titles, fancy degrees. It's like we don't exist, right? Until they need something and need to stay a little longer to do a little extra for no pay." And I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that. That's not part of my job description, right?" So you see me when you need me for something, but on the day-to-day, you don't see my humanity. Do you see? Inclusion. Folks, having diverse bodies in the building is good. I hear you, understand that. All qualified for their jobs, yes, okay. But the notion of feeling included, a sense of connection, a sense of belonging, that's another level. Here's a question. Do you know for a fact, with data, that all of your employees in your organizations, from the frontline staff to the senior people, feel equally respected, supported, valued, regardless of their role or rank? Do you know that for a fact with data? That's inclusion, okay? Now, 10 reasons to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? And this is, the sources are down here, so the slides will be there. You can pause this and so forth. I'll try to put some links in the description below. All right, so first of all, advanced performance. In a study performed by McKinsey & Company, companies in the top quartile for ethnic, cultural diversity on executive teams, leading with equity, right, were 33% more likely to have industry-leading profitability. Why? You want diversity, equity, and so forth at the leadership levels. Because I know some of you in some of your organizations. I've been there. I was working with a very elite organization. I won't say where, because you would know them. Right. And so I'm meeting with their board and their senior leadership, and they want to, there's sort of an anti-bias training, that sort of thing. And they say, "Oh yeah, we're diverse, Dr. Marks." I say, "Oh yeah, I saw your diversity. I walked around your building and I saw your diversity, racial, ethnic to a certain extent." What do I mean? Copy room, black and brown folks, copy room, mail room, receptionist, cashier, security guard, that sort of thing. Mid-level people, supervisors to a certain extent, some diversity. Senior people, not much at all. They was counting bodies in the building. Don't do that, right? I'm talking about if you value diversity and it's real, it should show up at every role, every rank, every level, if you're serious. And if you're really serious, when you analyze your data, you're going to disaggregate it, breaking down by role and rank. And within those roles and rank, look at race, gender, age as sort of your big three to see if there's differential experiences in your organization. If you're serious and you're not just playing, okay? Next, because your performance is better. Innovation and creativity. Companies are two-dimensional. Diversity, inherent and acquired, out-innovate others. Leaders who give diverse voices equal attention, unleash value-driving insights and employees into a speak-up culture at 3.5 times more likely to contribute to their full innovative potential. More innovation. Folks, it only makes sense. You got people with different diversity, different thinking, different backgrounds, different life skills coming together to create something that's going to be more innovative. This is not hard on its face. As opposed to people who think alike, same background, same schools, they're going to come up with the same things. Do you see? Okay. Next, evolved productivity. A McKinsey report covering 366 public companies in a variety of countries and industries found that those with which were more ethnically and gender diverse performed significantly better than others. Higher performance, higher productivity. Not that hard. Competitive advantage. Companies with diverse leadership team. 45% more likely to report a growth in market share over the previous year. Companies with a diverse leadership team are 70% more likely to capture a new market. You want to talk bottom line? Let's talk bottom line. Next, grow intellectually. What do we know, right? Diverse groups are 58% more accurate in problem solving as compared to homogeneous groups. Collective and individual intelligence increases in diverse groups. Of course it does. Iron sharpens iron. You learn from other groups that are different to you, different perspective. You haven't thought about certain things certain way. Generation Z is on track to be the nation's most diverse and best educated generation yet. Today, nearly half are non-white already. Okay. A CNBC article states that the traditional 9-to-5 office job doesn't adequately support the lives of millennials and Gen Zs that they want to live. They are flexible work natives. So y'all better understand this age bias thing, right? Because diversity, again, a bunch of different ways. People differ in their age and age groups. Different eras of our population, you talk about Gen Zs and millennials, came about at a different time, different experiences, different thoughts, different perspectives. Okay. So if you're in a workplace or you serve with the public, you may want to take that into account. Social responsibility. An increasing number of millennials believe that organizations have a moral obligation to give back to society in ways that create an inclusive environment for everyone to participate and thrive. Folks, I'm a college professor. I'm telling you, in terms of, yes, millennials, Gen Z, that sort of thing, when they interview our top performing students, right? When they interview for jobs, they're asking these companies questions. Are you socially responsible? Are you engaged in social justice initiatives? What are your perspective on this or that? These questions are coming up. Why? Because if I'm highly talented and I have options, so there's three organizations or companies I can work for. One is socially responsible. The other is just checking a box. Don't really value diversity. They're just trying to maximize profits. They don't care who they harm or hurt, that sort of thing. Who am I going with? Right? Assuming I'm paid the same sort of conveniences. That's what's happening now. Folks, the demographic shifts are already, some of y'all in denial. You are going to reduce your market share by not valuing this stuff and not having these discussions. All right, market demand. A study of more than 1,300 full-time employees found that an inclusive culture is key to both hiring and retaining talent. 80% of respondents said that inclusion is an important factor in choosing an employer. Just talked about that. Nearly a quarter of all respondents left jobs due to lack of diversity and inclusion. An inclusion strategy is key to retaining a diverse workforce. Folks, although the science shows that many people quit their jobs because of what they do, they get bored, tired, whatever, many other people quit their jobs because of who they do it with. One day they just get up and say, you know what? I don't have a new job, but I can't stand y'all no more. I'm out. And they quit. And what do y'all say? Ooh, I didn't see that coming. They did for 2 years, right? But you had no data. You had no insight. You had no sensitivity to what might have been going on at a more subtle level. So the notion is the data is staring you in the face. You know what the best recruitment, one of the best strategies for recruitment of new employees is retaining the ones you already have. So you mean to tell me if I look at your company or organization and I see people that look like me at senior levels from my background, went to certain school, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see a path here. But if I see no one at mid to senior levels who looks like me, thinks like me, similar background, what am I going to conclude is the likelihood that I'm going to sort of break through and be that person, especially when I have options. Again, 3 companies. Some are diverse at leadership levels, some are not. You already see the benefits of being diverse at leadership levels. Some are not. And I'm looking at these 3. What do you think I'm going to lean towards? Folks, again, this is not hard. Next, what do we know? Talent acquisition. While 74% of executives view D&I as crucial to the success of their organization, most companies do not take advantage of D&I to attract top talent. By failing to embed D&I, still DEI, D&I, into talent strategies, companies not only miss out on exceptional talent, but also on the benefits realized by diverse talent and inclusive culture. Folks, I teach at Morehouse College, an historically black college for men in Atlanta, Georgia, right? HBCU. Folks, you know how much talent is at the 105 or so HBCUs? Immense. At minority serving institutions? Immense. This pushback on DEI is so short-sighted by companies, agencies, and organizations. Why? The country is shifting demographically, majority minority. It's already happening. It's already here. But I'm going to pull back on going to places where I can find the best talent in multiple demographic groups. What? You think that makes sense? If I'm the forward-thinking company, I'm licking my chops. I'm like, oh, that's more talent for me. Oh, y'all don't got to come. No, stay. No, oh, you don't value. Okay. And I'm going in. Folks, there's talent everywhere. So if I could choose talent from a bunch of different, from 20 sources, and you choose it from 10, who do you think is going to end up with more diverse, better talent? This is not hard. So again, short-sighted, this pushback. And for those who get it, congratulations, you're going to have an advantage. All right. And finally, cultivate engagement. 40% of people say that they feel isolated at work, and the result has been lower commitment and engagement. Belonging is linked to a 56% increase in job performance, a 50% drop in turnover risk, and 75% reduction in sick days. Folks, you think if I don't feel respected, supported, valued, and welcome in my organization, that I'm breaking my neck to come to work when I don't feel well, that I'm going to stay that extra hour to do something when I'm not getting paid for it, that I'm going to volunteer to onboard this person that I'm not getting paid for, that I'm going to take up a temporary additional activities because somebody got let go. That's not my job. You think I'm doing all that? If I don't think you respect me, support me, and I'm welcome, this is a place for me. The logic of it. You heard of quiet quitting. Yes, that can happen, right? What will happen? People will hang on to your job. You know what a lot of people do? Check it out, real talk. You know what a lot of folks do in the US? A lot of people work hard enough not to get fired. Yeah, they have a minimalist psychology. What is the minimum I can do to keep my job and benefits? They ain't go the extra mile. Some of them are content because they've been passed over 3 or 4 times anyway. So what do they conclude? Wait a minute. I've been working here for 2-3 years. A promotion opportunity came up. I got passed over. Okay. Another one came up. I got passed over. A third one comes out. I'm like, wait. The 2 I just got passed over, and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, I see. The people got promoted. You know, they go to lunch together. They golf together, crochet together. Oh, they have relationship. Oh, so there's relationship bias here. Oh, so hard work does not pay off in this organization. Relationships do. So why should I work hard? So you got a bunch of non-hard working people, burnt out, jaded, because relationship bias is rampant in your organization. If I just said something, y'all missed it. This stuff is slippery and it's happening all around us. And I'm showing you in many different ways, right, how we can sort of think about this, look at the benefits of it, and maybe make some adjustments, okay? So finally, what is DEI? D stands for diversity, right? The ways in which people differ. Equity, customized distribution of resources given somebody's situation or condition. Inclusion, the psychological sense of feeling supported, welcome, valued, and respected in an organization, to the point, when feasible, of meaningful participation. All right? That's what it is. Why should everyone receive the training? I just gave you 10 reasons. It makes you a better organization, more profitable. People feel a sense of belonging, are happier. You think if I feel unappreciated by my bosses and coworkers, I'm going to show my best self to customers, clients, and the public? No. We talking about human beings here, right? If my boss has yelled at me, give me some unrealistic deadline, don't respect my time, my family, whatever the case may be, you think now I got to switch all that off and be super courteous, professional, everything else with these customers and clients? Think about the logic of that. All right, folks. So again, sorry if I sound a little preachy here, but I need y'all to get this. Okay. All right. And so from an academic perspective, DEI, the concepts, so I'm a social psychologist. Part of social psychology is intergroup relations, right? Part of intergroup relations is stereotyping, prejudice, discrimination, implicit, explicit bias. Those things fall under social psychology, the intergroup relations, and attitude, social cognition sort of sectors. All DEI is, the elements, the components, the science behind it, is applications of these social psychological concepts, right? So there is science, depending on how you approach DEI, behind all of this, right? All this unqualified people getting promoted is ridiculous, right? Yeah. If I have equally qualified people, now, all right, pro tip, bonus, no charge. Check it out. My advice to you, and I'm going to do another video on recruiting and returning a diverse workforce. Bottom line is this. You want to hire for diversity, retention, that sort of thing. Here's how you cover yourself. You establish a bar. All right, when you're going to hire somebody. So your minimum bar is an 8. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's an 8, okay? You'll only consider people who are above the bar 8 or higher. All right, let me go ahead and stretch this real quick. You're only going to consider people 8 or higher, okay? So what could happen is you could have a man, for example, say you want to hire for you want more women in leadership positions, right? It's going to be internal promotion sort of thing, okay? You can say, okay, you might have a woman that's an 8.2, a man that's an 8.5. You can make the diversity argument, if you want to use that diversity argument, right, for going with the woman because of all the benefits of having women in leadership that I just showed you. And plus they're close, 8.2, 8.5, that gap will close due to other benefits, that sort of thing. Okay. You have a woman that's an 8.2 and a man that's a 9.5, that's a conversation. What you do not want is a woman that's like a 7.8, 7.9, a man that's like an 8.6, and you hired a woman. Why? She may be perceived as unqualified, right? And people are watching. So you don't want that. Why? Because what do her team members say? Her direct reports, ooh, they just promoted you because you're a woman. I know this job better than you. You don't even deserve this. Undermining, right? So setting her up for failure. Everybody must be above the bar. The bottom line, lead with merit. Once people are above the bar, then you have your conversations, right? Pros and cons and so forth, right? But the notion is that people are lowering standards because of DEI. The pilot test is the pilot test, right? If you can't pass it, you won't be a pilot. The bar exam is the bar exam. If you don't pass it, they ain't lowering the bar exam minimum for women or for minorities. It is what it is. And then some of y'all pushing back. Last thing I'll say about this, I think. The short-sightedness of pushing back on DEI. Here's what I want you to do. If you push back, DEI, all emotional. And for some people, a lot of the pushback on DEI comes from discomfort around race and racism historically in the U.S. Folks, it happened. All right, talking about it is fair. But it's bigger than that because we differ in many different ways beyond race. So when you want to push back on DEI, whoever does, here's what I say to you. The next time your daughter or your spouse or your mom or some other woman in your life is not paid the same, promoted the same access to opportunities, remember this video. Those people may not have gotten DEI training because it got banned. Next time you have a child with a learning difference, dyslexia, ADHD, or whatever the case may be, right? And those teachers cannot adjust and give them an IEP, an individual education plan, or provide resources that they need, equity, remember this video, right? So then you got anybody elderly in your house, right? Parent, grandparent, that sort of thing. Next time they go in for some sort of service, whatever the case may be, and they're not treated well because they're elderly, because we have significant elderly bias in the U.S., I want you to remember this video. The DEI thing goes way beyond race. It's going to touch all of us in some way. So for those who are pushing back, be very careful. Also, show me the data. Show me the data that says in your organization, matter of fact, I'll make it plain, for you. Show me the data that says you know for a fact with data, there's no racial, age, gender, relationship, or any other bias in how you do your job day to day, right? Show me your actual data. That your implicit biases, which you know nothing about, by the way, also play no role in the decisions that you make and the things you do every day, right? And if you can show me that both your implicit and explicit bias play no role, that diversity, equity, inclusion is a non-factor, then we can talk. But as long as you have disparities between races, between gender, ethnic groups, age groups, and so forth, if somebody walks to a bank and get quoted different rates for a loan, if somebody's housing appraisal comes back differently because of their race, ethnicity, if somebody doesn't get a raise because of their gender, as long as those disparities exist, there's going to be a need for DEI and anti-bias training because the disparities are staring you in the face. But if you can show me an organization or a city or a county or society where all those disparities have gone away, then I'm open to discussing no more DEI training. Hopefully that was helpful for you, because on its surface, if you're reasonable, you realize we all differ, that we all have different needs, and that we all need to feel a sense of belonging. As a reasonable adult, you can accept that. It also applies to the workplace and how we do what we do in formal organizations day to day. And with that, folks, thank you very much. So check out the description below. There's going to be some links to our website, some upcoming trainings, other things that we're doing. But, we train across the country, mostly implicit bias training, but we just launched another one, recruiting and retaining a diverse workforce. We've launched an in-person retreat in Atlanta that we hosted. That's multiple days. So we have lots going on at the National Training Institute on Race and Equity. For our current and past clients, we appreciate your support. For those who've never experienced our trainings, please reach out to us via our website. Our trainings are fun or engaging. We try to keep folks, we don't deal in guilt, shame, and blame. I know I've been kind of, passionate, but we don't deal with guilt, shame, and blame. We deal with science and empathy. That is our approach to the work, but it's fun, it's engaging, and we think we are making a difference. With that, folks, until next time, peace and blessings. Have a great day.